All right, everyone, welcome back once again to this Beefcast production. I'm your casting host, Beef. Thank you for joining me. Going into Game 2 of this Best of 5 series, this TVZ. All right, let's get right into it. On the top right-hand corner of Entombed Valley, the Red Terran, the star of Team Liquid right now, down one game in this Best of 5 series. He is Liquid.Taeja. And his opponent showing us some absolutely beautiful Mutiling Bling games there in the last game on Ohana. He is one of the absolute stars in the foreigner scene. Everybody's favorite. He is the Blue Zerg EG.IdrA. So, game one there, actually a little bit of a 2-Rex there that was very well defended by IdrA. Nice early scout on that. Allowed IdrA to prevent any kind of bunker shenanigans and really allowed IdrA to take a little bit of a lead there. He lost next to nothing to that 2-Rex, and Taeja was forced to really not eco up as much as he wanted to there at the beginning, just because he didn't have enough Marines really to defend any kind of early Zergling aggression. Had to pull SCVs in the early game to defend that, and lost a couple of workers there that he really didn't need to lose. His eco suffered throughout the game, and the Mutiling Baneling really just did work throughout the rest of the game. IdrA was really just able to pull through and make some incredible tactical decisions, choosing when to engage with his Banelings and choosing when to just try to snipe a couple of medevacts. And through consistent, efficient trades, IdrA was actually able to take that game 1 there on Ohana. So game 2 here on Entombed Valley is a lot larger of a map than in Ohana, a 4-player map most notably. So there's not going to be any 2-Rex shenanigans right now, just because Taeja doesn't feel like having to scout. With the map being so large, it requires a lot of scouting to be able to find your opponent first. But right now, with that Overlord going to be popping in right there for IdrA, IdrA's going to see that there is a command center down first, and I'd expect that Taeja probably saw that Overlord. And with that Overlord getting there so fast, he knows exactly where IdrA is. He's going to be down here in the bottom right-hand corner. But like we said, CC first right there for Taeja, a very economic opening, and something that's not too uncommon on this map. Back at home, he does have a barracks as well as a refinery going down, and IdrA choosing to respond to this CC first by throwing down 3 hatch before spawning pool. So this is a common response from our Zerg player here, knowing that his opponent is going to be going for something pretty greedy himself, responds with the greed of his own. However, the refinery is actually going to enable a lot of gas to be coming out relatively soon. I think that this is actually going to be a quick Hellion play after the command center here. And so with those Hellions coming out, it's going to prevent anything like really early Cloaked Banshee. He simply doesn't have the gas for that right away. The Cloaked Banshee follow-up could be there, but I think as soon as we see this 100 gas right here, it is going to be a factory coming down. The reactor will be produced here on the barracks as well. And with that, we do have Reactor Hellions going to be coming out here in about a minute and a half. So IdrA with the late spawning pool, no speed, he's not really going to have enough queens to defend this extremely well, especially over here at this third. The third is going to become highly vulnerable, and the SCV is even going to see the drones starting to transfer over there immediately. So I would expect the third right here to be the focus of the Hellion harassment that will be coming in here in a minute or so. But Taeja continuing to mine the gas right there. All 3 workers going to continue on that, and a third CC going to be going down as well. IdrA going to be choosing to produce 6 Zerglings at home. Right now, that's going to be his method of choice of dealing with any early aggression. Maybe use them for some scouting information as well. And so, just both players continuing to macro up right now. Nothing too much going on over here. The barracks going to switch place with the factory right there, and the first couple of Hellions are going to be starting production. Starport is going to start as well, and we'll see what additional facility the barracks chooses to go down. If it's a tech lab, then there could be a Banshee follow-up, but with a very limited amount of gas right now, I highly doubt it. But a tech lab it is, so there could be a Banshee follow-up right here. We're working off only 1 gas. There's not going to be any possibility of cloak, but a Banshee follow-up with the Hellion harassment is going to spread IdrA very, very thin. With a player like IdrA that's known to have somewhat of a compromised emotional state, then it could put him on tilt. So we'll see. One spine crawler going to be coming down right there. Not sure if those units were spotted by IdrA or not, but the first two Hellions going to be coming in right now. And excellent job from IdrA, going to be breaking down those rocks already. Already does in fact have 2 queens down at his third. So going to be relatively well defended right here for the attack. 2 more gases going to be coming up for IdrA, bringing his total all the way up to 3 gases now. And the first Banshee is actually going to be on its way. So that one Banshee is going to be rallied straight across the map, right into, right there. So we'll see where that rally point does get in fact changed to. But with the, I think the Hellions might wait for the Banshees. I don't really know. It's kind of weird right now that the Hellions haven't gone in there. They're looking for an opening, but he can see that the queens have already started to spread creep pretty effectively. The wall is already down right there. So yeah, I think they're going to be waiting for the Banshee, try to draw the queens off in one location, and then swipe in from another location. That's a pretty brilliant play there from Taeja. Double engineering big, going to be completing the wall off up here at the front, and Taeja going to be starting those upgrades as soon as he can with the 4 gases that he's going to be taking right now. Even a couple more barracks going to be coming down, and stim packs, so a similar build to last game from this point. That Banshee has been spotted there by the Queen, and no information has been gleaned whether there is cloak or not at this point. Banshee going to be making its way around the back of the natural, but 2 queens going to be getting over there as well. A total of 3 queens in the natural right now. Going to be in a pretty effective position to defend that. 6 of these Hellions going to be making their way into the third right now, and Zerglings with no speed going to be making their way over there to try to defend that. The Banshee does look like it has in fact fallen. No, there's still one Banshee on the map. Okay, that is a new Banshee, alright. Zergling's going to be trying to still fight with these Hellions right now, but with 3 queens and a spine crawler right there, those Zerglings are going to take a couple of shots, but they are absolutely going to get the job done. All 6 of those Hellions are going to be cleaned up right now. Let's take a look at the workers killed, and only a total of 5 workers killed right now. That Banshee going to be trying to put a little bit of damage onto those queens right there, but queens doing a very good job of transfusing each other, keeping their health up, and the Banshee will retreat with that. One is going to be started there for Taeja. Stim pack already completed. Back at home for IdrA, his tech of choice is going to be the Infestation Pit. Infestation Pit going down right there, in addition to a Baneling Nest and Evolution Chamber, double upgrading all of his Ling stuff. Zerglings already completing their Zergling speed, so they are looking very good. One Banshee still out here on the map. Gonna try to pick off a couple of Zerglings right there, but the Zerglings say, oh hell no, we're getting the hell on out of here. Back at home for Taeja, going to be plopping that armory down so that he can continue his upgrades right there. Going to have a little bit of an upgrade advantage there on IdrA, about a minute and a half faster on the 1-1, and he can be starting 2-2 immediately. So he's going to continue to get that upgrade over IdrA. Infestation Pit going to be finishing up at home for IdrA right now. With that large bank of gas, he's going to choose to start both Baneling Speed and the, I can never remember the upgrade for the Infestors, it's just weird. I'm a Zerg player. Pathogen Glands. That's what it's called. And so with all of that Vespin gas right there, you're going to have enough gas for quite a few Infestors. I'd like to see about 6 Infestors in about 20 seconds here start. With those 6 Infestors, he's going to have quite a lot of energy for a nice amount of fungals right there. Be able to remain defensive while taking his 4th base and even starting his hive right away. So 11 minutes and 37 seconds on that hive, and absolutely great timing for IdrA right now. A little bit unfortunate that he hasn't really been spreading his overlords too much right here. About 7 of those overlords that could be spread out throughout the map, but one thing that Terran players have started doing, well, a lot recently, at least for me, is using these Vikings, which is actually exactly what's happening right there. One Viking just patrols across the map. Let's take a look at Taeja's camera right here so that we can see where this Viking is patrolled to. Nowhere. Okay. Well, normally they have a bunch of rally points on them. It's just really annoying. They just fly all over the map, killing every single overlord. In that case, it's very much so the case that you want to keep your overlords at home, because those Vikings will kill a lot of stuff. Zerglings are going to be scouting the one incoming medevac over here, so we'll see what he does choose to do. With all those Zerglings going to be in place already, the medevac going to choose to drop in a different location, try to snipe off whatever they can, and then get out of there. Double gas is going to be going up over here at the 4th base for IdrA at this time. Not enough drones really on those quite yet, but here comes the rest of the drones, and a Spire going to be completing right here as Adrenal Glands has started with Hive Tech completed. So Greater Spire is actually going to be the choice for IdrA. Upgrades once again a little bit in favor of Taeja. The 2-2 is going to finish up a little bit before the 2-2 of IdrA. That's going to be about a minute and a half worth of a timing right there. And Taeja looks like he's in position really to want to hit that. Siege tank production has commenced back at home with 4 of these tanks going to be on the map for the time being, but clearing up a little bit of that creep spread and then just kind of retreating on home. That's Taeja's MO for the day. With all these Marines and the medevac over here, they're going to take a shot at dropping once again Spore Spine and another Spine going to be over here in position to try to defend that. But the medevac choosing once again just to drop over here. Greater Spire at home has started. 2 starports starting for our Terran player back home, wanting to continue medevac and Viking production right now, or just really pump out those Vikings 6 at a time, something like that. 3-3 as well has completed, or excuse me, has started. All these Marines going to valiantly give up their lives in exchange for a couple of creep tumors. With the infestors on the map right now, there could be a pretty good window for IdrA to try to get in there and just take out a lot of stuff. All these siege tanks going to be starting a pretty good siege line here, starting on the edge of the creep right there, and a couple shots going off on a couple of Zerglings right there. Total of 13 kills on Zerglings for those 2 tanks, not too bad. Zerglings actually going to be making their way across the map for a counterattack, and there's not a whole lot of defense right here. There is a wall, but Taeja, knowing that there could be a counterattack, definitely a possibility. He's trying to prepare as best as he can. Zerglings going to be making their way into the siege tank line over here, but cleaned up very effectively. The Zerglings and the infestors, as well as the banelings, really just trying to get in position to do a flanking maneuver. But after losing that 4th base, which was an absolutely crucial 4th base, IdrA's looking in not the best position right now. One Viking over here just making sure to spot for anything that could be coming on over that way. But Broodlord production has started for IdrA. A total of 3 Broodlords in production right now. Zerglings and Banelings just taking back map control a little bit here, but a 4th base going down, going to be a planetary fortress for Taeja, and Taeja is actually looking to be in a pretty good position right now. 6 at a time Viking production, in addition to Terran vehicle weapons level 2 for his tanks. Has not started air upgrades just yet, but with 3-3 kicking in here very soon, there's once again going to be about a 2-minute window for Taeja to have 3-3 while the Zerglings do not. So I'd like to see Taeja try to make use of that, but with those Broodlords coming out, he really needs to be able to deal with those, and that's what those Vikings are going to be used for. Looking at the army compositions right now, 10 Vikings on the field as opposed to only 2 Corruptors and 6 Broodlords. So I would say that Taeja's got a very good chance of taking some large air superiority once those Vikings do get onto the battlefield over here. And look at those Vikings. Look how sexy they are. We'll see if they make Artos' favorite Viking flower and just take out some of those Zerg air units. Zerglings and Banelings going to be meeting in the middle with a couple of Marines right there, but every one of those Marines manages to load up into the medevac. Just kidding. That's Marvin Marine right there. Not quite able to get into the medevac. There were 9. He could only take 8, and he was the one unlucky soul that gets left on the ground. And that's pretty much the state of the game right now. A 2nd Spire going to be going down for IdrA. Wants to be able to start a 2nd set of upgrades, or maybe just a safety 2nd Greater Spire, so that he can continue whatever kind of upgrades that he does in fact need. A couple of Zerglings will be making their way in right now, and look at that one Zergling right there taking like 3 swipes at that tank and just doing a lot of damage. These 2-2 Lings with Adrenal Glands do so much damage. It's actually like three Zerglings, I think, can take down 1 siege tank. Something pretty stupid like that, and if the siege tank is not sieged, that is, they do a lot of damage. Extremely cost effective when they're 3-3 with the Adrenal Glands upgrade right now. Siege tank's going to be starting to siege up right here for IdrA, excuse me, for Taeja. IdRA's actually looking to be in a pretty rough position with all these Vikings on the field. Zerglings and Banelings going to be making their way down from the 5th base here from IdrA, with a couple of Marines and Marauders going to be trying to continually clear up all of this creep right now. Both these players sitting on absolutely gigantic banks, so this game is not looking to go anywhere fast. Both these players content to macro up, but a double drop going to be coming in here over to the 4th base right now. A lot of Marines. These are 3-3 Marines going to be able to clean up all of these queens extremely fast. A couple of Spine Crawlers are going to finish, and it's unfortunate that he wasn't able to target those down. And beautiful Fungal's going to be coming down on those Marines. Zergling's going to be coming in to clean up. Taeja going to use this time to try to get into a little bit better position with his main army over here, and has not quite continued his Viking production very well. Only at 16 Vikings And I guess that's probably enough. You know, 16 Vikings, that's a decent amount of Vikings. 9 Broodlords and 12 Corruptors going to be in the air right now, so it's really going to come down to the Infestors Fungals. If they manage to land one big fungal onto these Vikings or not, that's really going to be the key. Another big drop going to be loading up into 3 Medivacs right now. Looks like Taeja does want to hit in a different pattern. Once again, going to be floating around the side of the creep over here. And we'll see if he is able to get this 5th base down. There's a lot of static defense coming up right now for EG.IdrA, so it doesn't look like it's going anywhere fast. The 5th base is going to be coming down here. Another planetary fortress for Taeja up here in the 11 o'clock position. Marine's going to try to unload onto the 5th base once again. They do, in fact, take down the hatchery, but loses both medevacs and all the units inside does Taeja. The main base is mined out now for EG.IdrA. Going to go ahead and transfer the rest of those units off ASAP. And Taeja back at home, really just kind of sitting on a couple of orbital commands right there and not really building too many. Oh, that's what I get. Couple more orbital commands could be coming up over here at the 3rd. This is something that Taeja's been doing a lot recently, just making as many orbital commands as he possibly can. If he's got a bunch of money, he's gonna use it. Something like 22 orbital commands in a game against, I want to say Nest-T at some point or another. I don't remember what game that was, but Taeja versus Nest-T. Oh, that was IPL Tech 3 finals. Yeah, he had like 22 orbital commands excuse me, at the end of that game. Yeah, command center's just coming down by the dozen right now. Another 4 in production, in addition to a Ghost Academy. Ghost's not something that we've seen too much lately in ZVT matchup, just because the Ghosts did get nerfed with their snipe. They're really only effective against infestors with that snipe ability right now, and EMP only effective against those infestors again. So, I mean, I guess you can EMP some queens, but that's not too common. 4 medevacs going to be making their way down the left side of the map right now. EG.IdrA does have 2 bases in production right there, and I believe that he did, in fact, see those medevacs going to be coming over there. So Corruptor's going to be on their way to try to defend that, but another drop, or excuse me, a Hellion run-by to be going on over here at the 4th base. So we did see those Hellions coming down the right side of the field right there. Corruptor is going to be trying to make their way and intercept those medevacs, but all these medevacs going to be unloading at the same time. Marines and Marauders and Lions and Tigers, oh my. Marine's going to be able to focus down this hatchery, no problem. The Marines and the Marauders going to be able to focus down this hatchery, no problem. And it releases 2 bases just like that. This base over here, the 5th, does finally get reestablished. But look at Taeja right now. Look at all of these orbital commands. Well, he hasn't morphed those into orbital commands just yet, but going to be able to sacrifice down a lot of SCVs. Let's take a look at his SCV count. Still 67. And as soon as all of those orbitals are in orbitals, in fact, there's going to be a lot of ability for Taeja to sacrifice supply to really get up to that true 200 max out with like 20 SCVs or something like that. Only going to be mining gas with the SCVs and working on a bio-based army. Gas is not the most important thing. You really don't need as much gas as you need minerals when you're working bio. So we'll see. These Broodlords are going to be caught out of position a little bit right there. Scan going down, seeing that the Corruptors are in fact going to be coming in, and managed to snipe 1. No small feat right there. Marines going to be trying to make their way into a flanking position right there, but on move command going to be taking a little bit of damage there from the Zerglings. Taeja finally reacting and saying, oh, that's not what I wanted to do with you guys. Going to be sending them right back up there again. Corruptors and Broodlords going to be making their way over there to deal with that small contingent of 10 Marines, and Corruptors are going to be taking down that medevac. 1 Corruptor going to be going down. Very nice job there by the Marines, and a couple of nice fungals go down there. We'll clean up the rest of them. And so EG.IdrA really just kind of sitting on his haunches right now, afraid to attack into his opponent, not really having an answer for all those Vikings. Right now the numbers are going to be 20 Corruptors versus 20 Vikings. And Thors are actually starting to get added into the composition for our Terran player right now. Thor is actually going to be extremely effective at dealing with those Broodlords once the Vikings go down. The Broodlords are once again effective at dealing with Thors as well, so it's really going to be about how those Thors get the Broodlords to clump up, how effective the AoE damage is. But look at that, a Thor drop, double Thor drop going to be going down over here on the left side. That's where the medevac is headed, going to cut down right over here into the 6th base. and we'll see how that does in fact go. Well, Zerglings are going to be relatively effective at dealing with the swords right now, but a beautiful fungal going down on these Vikings, catching a total of 5 Vikings right there. The Corruptor's able to come in and clean up. The Blue Lords are in an absolutely beautiful position, going to be able to kill Cloak on that Ghost Academy before it finishes, so no Cloak, no nukes today. And the Brood Lords are in a very nice position right now. A couple of Corruptors going to be getting in there and get sniped, but look at those Thors. The Thors are providing so much AoE damage on all those clumped up Corruptors right there. And this is the engagement. This is the final engagement. Beautiful EMPs go down on the Infestors. Infestors lose every bit of their energy, and the Broodlords are going to be trying to take down this orbital command. The first orbital command is going to fall right there, but the Vikings being able to be microed beautifully, outranging the Corruptors just a little bit right there and trying to take down every single one of the Corruptor numbers. Are down just 6 right now, but the Viking reinforcements are so big. No energy on these Infestors right there. IdrA is going to be forced to retreat. The orbital command does in fact fall, and so Taeja is down to only 26 orbital commands or something stupidly high like that. The Broodlord's going to be taking so much fire right now from the Vikings. There's absolutely no way that these Broodlords are going to be able to retreat. IdrA does have the bank to replenish as much of his army as he can. 12 more Corruptors going to be hitting the field right there, with a couple of infested Terrans going down as well. The infested Terrans are going to be able to put a lot of damage onto the Vikings, perhaps being able to focus a couple of these down. 4 more Corruptors going to be making their way into the fray right now, and the Vikings actually are going to die right now to the Corruptors and to the infested Terrans, as a couple more of these Broodlords do in fact take out one more orbital command, well, at least light it on fire before it does manage to raise itself off the ground. But 2 more Broodlords are going to be left at the same time. The Thor drop has cleaned up both of these bases over here on the left side and are starting to work on the 5th base. One of them has been evacuated already. The space over here between the 2 players has been established, and at the same time there was a defense of what looks to be a push by the Marine Marauder ball over here. Broodlord's going to be in a pretty shitty position right now, going to be taken out by all these Marines and a couple of Thors. The Broodlord's not cancelled at that point, which is a little bit of a ill-fated decision in my opinion. The Broodlords are going to die. Every single one of these Corruptors will die, and so IdrA wasting a little bit more resources right there. And that huge bank that we saw from both players is now absolutely gone. Broodling's going to be trying to take down one of those Thors right there, but unfortunately Broodlings are not quite good enough to take down the mighty Thor. A couple of Blue Flame Hounds going to be going up against some Ultralisks, and so IdrA is going to be changing into an Ultralisk composition, and we'll see how the Terran player does choose to react to this right now. Marauders only being produced 1 at a time. He is almost maxed out, so a couple more Marauders are going to be in production, but almost no medevacs on the field at this time. Big EMPs going down once again on those Infestors. Baneling's going to be connecting on quite a few units, but the Thor does soak up quite a few Baneling hits. A few more Banelings going to be rolling in over here in the back, but a beautiful split from Taeja right now. Without the energy on those Infestors, no Fungal's going to be able to come down, and these Ultras really just lose their efficacy. Marauder's going to be able to pump out so much damage right now to these Ultralisks, and we're down to only 5 Ultralisks here in the main field, but the SimCity for the Terran player is in fact going to be able to prevent the Ultralisks from really making a lot of good connections. A couple of Thors here in the back do manage to take out one of the Ultralisks for now, and Thor's being microed similar to an Immortal micro into a Warp Prism, but look at these Ultras, they're just down on so low HP. All these Infestors are completely out of energy. Zergling's going to be coming in, try to clean up those Thors as best as they possibly can. One more orbital is going to be forced to lift at this point. And Ultra is actually continuing to do a little bit of work. There's 2 right here that are on like 1 HP each. Both of them do fall to those Thors before they do lose their lives. IdrA not choosing to reestablish either of his bases that were previously killed over here. IdrA looking like he's pretty much all in on this effort right there. Finally, another hatchery does go down in that position, but let's take a look at the army composition. Supply down at 120 for IdrA, whereas Taeja is on 140 with a decent bank, continuing to macro up. Cloak once again going to be restarted. Zerglings and Ultralisk could be flanked on 2 sides here by Bio. A couple of Fungals going to be going down there as Ultralisk do manage to make connections, and Mana Mule's going to be coming down, and IdrA GG's out. So a wonderful game here. Game 2 on Entombed Valley. Taeja evens up the series at 1-1, but a nice long macro game with that Broodlord transition into an Ultralisk tech switch. But Taeja just looking in absolutely dominant fashion, able to sit back on all of his macro, all of these command centers, and just keep the game going. So very nice job there by Taeja. Evens up the series. Thank you once again for watching. I've been your casting host, Beef, and we'll catch you in game.